Hey there, so welcome to OptimizePress. Now we're looking at the back end, obviously, of WordPress, and we have OptimizePress installed as a theme. So it'll now show in our dashboard because we've already installed the theme, and it kind of just starts off looking like this. We haven't done anything here, and what I'm going to do is just walk you through a little bit of how OptimizePress works, because it's slightly different than other website themes for WordPress. It works kind of, it's set up differently, and there's a visual editor. And so the way you create pages, you use what's called a page builder with OptimizePress. So it's just slightly different than most other themes for WordPress, and I just want to walk you through that. So OptimizePress, whenever you get it installed, the first thing to do is to start to create your first page. And the cool thing is, once you create one page, you can then clone that page. So you can make an exact duplicate of it. So you can then build out like every page in your site to look the same, or you can customize each page if you would like. And then you have to, with OptimizePress, you basically set up the page to look one way, and then you have to go back and set up the blog. And basically you go back and just repeat whatever you did to set up the page in the blog. So for instance, if you uploaded a particular design for your header and your logo and kind of set up your colors of your navigation bar for like a page as you built the page, you'd have to then go in and make the same settings for the blog so that like the blog area would look the same. So for instance, if we look at this site, which is built on OptimizePress too, bring it up here. So Binge Eating Breakthrough is built on OptimizePress too. So this is a page that was created. Now, these sections are actually the blog. So when I click on food addiction, I'm actually going to a blog section. Now see, it looks slightly different. If you notice, the navigation bar is slightly different. It may be hard to tell. Hopefully it's hard to tell because I built it so it would look almost the same. That's just the way that OptimizePress is. It just has the blog section and the blog section and the page section as two separate things. You have to kind of set up both of them. For whatever reason, you might want the blog section to look different. But if you don't, I'm just letting you know that you need to do the same settings for both. So if I go back to like the home page, you'll see that the navigation bar looks slightly different. So it's just a different layout for that page. The blog pages basically only come with one layout, which is the blog roll here and then the sidebar. And then of course if you click on a blog post, that'll just have one basic template, which is just the content on one side and then your sidebar. And the advantage of a page, let me just go back to the page. The advantage of a page is that you can create any kind of layout you want. So I can have something with two columns like I have here, where this is kind of like 2/3 and 1/3, you know? You can change up with lots of different, you could have one column, you could have three columns, you could have 3/4 and 1/4, you can have 1/3 and 2/3. You can create all sorts of layouts and customize it however you want, which we're going to do here in a second. But that just kind of gives you a sense of what it can look like. It doesn't have to look like this. This is just how I customize this particular website. So back to OptimizePress. The first thing you're going to do is go to OptimizePress and then the page builder. That's where I mostly just get started. And then after I'm done creating my first page, then I go back to the blog setup and the blog settings, and I basically just repeat the same settings that I set up with the page builder so that they're consistent. So if I click on page builder, basically what it does is it's like going to WordPress and going to page new, except we're using it this way. So here you enter the title, so we're going to call this test, and it's going to go ahead and adjust your URL for that page based on what you typed in here. You can change it if you want to. And then here you can either start with a blank page or you can start with a content template. I find it easier most of the time to start with a content template, until I got used to OptimizePress, and then I feel like I could, use the blank page. I just find it easier to use what they have and modify it. So if you click on content template, now you're going to see a whole bunch of templates you can choose from. So there's a home page template, there's different membership page templates. Now you don't have to use the template for a membership page. Like I could use this template, which is membership lesson page clean style. I could use that for my home page if I want to. It's just giving you an idea. So like this might be a lovely home page, the membership home classroom style, right? So you can use that as a regular home page. It doesn't have to be a membership page, but that just gives you an example of the layout. Then there's some opt-in pages where they come with the opt-in email form already on them, with like a video opt-in form, right? So it just makes it really simple to set up some of these pages. You can select any one of these and you can leave it as it is, or you can customize it to look however you want. So like for instance, if you really like this design, the clean video landing page, but you're like, well, I don't have a video, I actually have an image of an ebook. That's fine. You can just X out that video and put in your image instead. So it's whatever you'd like. So we will select, just to get started here, goodness, there's lots of things to get started. All right, I think we'll maybe start with this one to get started. Actually, no, I think we're gonna go. Actually, no, I want the logo at the top. This is a little hard decision. Let me see. I really want to have the logo at the top. Okay, we're gonna try this maybe. Okay, we're gonna try that. Clean video landing page, and then I'm gonna go down and hit proceed to step 2. And then what it's gonna do is start to set up the page. And then I'll be redirected to the live editor. And in the live editor, I can click and drag things around however I want. So you don't have to know any programming or anything. You just, basically it's a very visual thing. So it's just loading up here. And so this is the page as its basic template. This is what you can customize, right? So we can customize any one of these things. And we can do that by just clicking on the pencil on any section. Now you can click to hide controls, and then you'll see what the page would actually look like without those controls to guide you. But then you want to show them to be able to see where you can add in things. So like for instance, say I want to add, I want to change this headline, I would just hit the pencil, right? And then when I click on that, then I can edit that one particular section, right? If I want to customize it in any way, like change the font, I can select the fonts here. If I want to change the size, I can change that. If I want to change the color, I can highlight a certain word and change the color up in here. I can select the color that I want, you know, whatever I would prefer, right? And there's also, if I want to maybe move the headline like down a little bit, so there's a little white space above it, I can give it a margin on top, or I can give it a margin on the bottom if I want some space underneath of it. If I want to space out the lines, if it was like 2 lines here and I want to space them out more, I could type in a number here to space out the lines more. And I can select the alignment. And then, let's see, let me just type in something like, and then I'm going to select this word and I'm going to make that blue. And then I'll just go down here and hit insert. And then it goes there, right? Now I can add a subheadline underneath, or I could add whatever I want. If I don't, I can use this row as it is, but if I'm like, well, I don't have a video, I have an ebook, then I would just hit the X to exit out. And then that removes the element, and now it's empty. So I would click Add Element, and then I can select from all these different things that I can create. I can create a bullet list, I can put a button in there, I can put a calendar, I can have a content toggle, I can have a course description box, I can custom code something if I want to, I can create a beautiful designer, I can insert Facebook comments, any of this stuff I can then add. I can put another headline if I wanted, and I can add an image, right? So I might select image, and then I could select the style, like there could be like a slight shadow around it with like a tagline underneath. There could be this kind of border around it like that. There could be a thicker border, another type of border. So you could kind of select whichever one really grabs you. If I would select that one, then I would have to select the file, right? And I don't have any files right now available to load up here, but that just shows you what you can create. I can create something else like a guarantee box, right? If I wanted to put a guarantee box here for some reason, I could click that and there's a whole bunch of different styles, right? So I can select any one of these things and enter it right into the page, right? Which is very helpful because it's already designed, and I can customize the text and anything in there, right? That's just giving me an idea. So I could like, it's actually, you know, I could select that and now I have that. And that might not be what I want there, but just to show you, or if I selected, say the guarantee box, then here's how I would type in what it's going to say and the title. So it can say whatever I want, right? So that just shows you kind of like and I didn't type a title, so nothing shows up, but that shows you kind of how easy it is to add content. If I don't want this whole row, if I'm like, I just don't want this thing, then I can delete that out, and that whole row will go away. If I don't want this row either, I'm going to delete that out, remove it. Now I just have this kind of, that's it, right? So then I can add a new row, and then I can select different layouts. So I can do 2/3 to 1/3, do 3/5 to 1/5, 1/5. Like, there's a lot of fancy things. I think I use 3/5 to 2/5 for the first site that I showed you, Binge Eating Breakthrough. So I can select that. You can also select like featured areas, like a section break with like something like a colored line to break something up. Lots of different things you can play with. Like if you select, for instance, if I would select FAQs and I hit insert, it will then create this whole frequently asked questions area. And now I can go in and edit each one of those areas to change the text in that area to say whatever I want it to say, right? So it's really cool that you can just kind of build these elements however you wish. Right now, maybe I don't want that, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to get rid of that whole row. Yes. I got to get rid of that row. Yes. You know, this is a Facebook like thing. It's already in there. So that was a customized thing already built in. So you can just really select from whatever you want. I'm going to add a new row, and I want to have like 3/5 to 2/5, right? So I wanted to kind of give you a sense of how flexible this is, and you can build a page however you want. Now, if I want to add a banner and a logo, I need to go to Layout Settings, and then here is where Header Navigation. I'm going to turn that on, and now I can select. I can either do a little logo with the navigation there, or I can do the banner and the header. If I select banner and header, then here's where I upload a file, and it tells you it can be 960 pixels wide, and you can upload any image you want. And you can have a repeating image in the background if you want that. You can also just have a background color. And then here, navigation bar, I probably want it below the header, so I'm going to turn that on. And then here's where you would want to create a menu bar in the menus area of WordPress, and then you would select that menu here, and then you'd have the navigation. And then you can select like the font, whatever you want the menu bar font to be. Most of that footer area, you can select that. If you want to type something in the disclaimer area, you can type whatever you want there. It's kind of mostly, if you want to have a navigation bar on the footer, kind of like your privacy policy and terms and conditions or contact or something like little text links on the bottom, you can select footer navigation, and you can make a menu here that's for the footer and select it there. I'm just going to hit update, and I believe it's just going to create a space for my header. Yeah, okay. So here, because I don't have a header image uploaded, it didn't take an image, but it created this space now where I can upload a header image. Now if I would say view public link, I'm going to hit save, and then whenever you hit view public link, you're going to then be able to see your page. You know, this is what I have so far, right? Which looks a lot different than back here, but if I were to hide the controls, right, it looks pretty similar, right? So you really get a sense of how you can build a page. I do advise starting with, you know, the templates. If you get to this point and you're like, oh no, I really want to go back to the templates, that's fine. Just go up to Content Templates, and then you can just select, you know, another template to start with and start playing with. So you can really just play around endlessly until you get something that really looks the way that you want. So that's my little walkthrough around OptimizePress. Oh, the other thing is, after you've worked on the page, I'm going to X out of this. I'm not going to save the page. The next thing is, after you've set up the page, like with your banner and the navigation, you want to make the navigation bar, you have an option to set the colors on that as you want. Then you would go to OptimizePress blog settings, and then you would be able to set up the same thing. You'll be able to select whatever style you want for your blog. For the brand, here's where you would set up your header, so you could upload that same header image here and set up your settings the same. Your color settings, this is where you would choose for the featured area. If you want to have a featured area, you would set the colors there. Typography, if you want to change the fonts, you would change it there. Copyright notice, this is what will show up on the bottom of your website. If you want to change that so it doesn't say OptimizePress, you would change it here. Some blog settings. Layout structure, here's where you would hit the navigation, so you'd select, it's already being selected probably, and then the navigation, you probably go and you select this, and here's where you'd set the color of the navigation bar. So you'd want to make sure that all these color codes, like if I choose that color code, And that color code, you want to make sure it matches whatever you've set on your page, which is under the color settings on your page. So just want to show you that section too, because whatever you do on your page, you'd want to set up on your blog as well. And then that way it will be congruent if you want it to look the same way. So that would be in your blog settings. And then the modules would be, you could add an opt-in, right? You can add sharing, you can add advertising, you can add related posts. Like you can add a lot of these cool things on the side if you want to. So cool. So that's my little walk around on OptimizePress just to give you a sense of it. And we'll dig into some more details about it soon. Okay, thank you.